Alright, hello everyone, this is Paulie D, 5-star. Final episode, episode 2 of the Nylon 66 build. And as you know from episode 1, we cleaned up, we disassembled, we removed all the rust and residue from the barrel and the receiver cover. We reblued those components. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to polish some of the internal components, like the port and a couple of other items. Okay, and we want to make sure everything is functioning nice and smoothly inside the firearm. Okay, we want it to function flawlessly. Okay, after we're done with the buildup and the assembly, we will do some test firing as well. Okay, we'll actually put that. We'll have that at the end of this episode, episode 2. We'll have some test firing here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get in and we're just going to clean up the loading port. Okay, so yeah, we want to clean it up and then we want to polish it. All right. Alright, check this out. This is a brand new box of CCI 22LR mini mags, right? You're gonna love this. Look, this brand new. I just opened this for the first time. Okay, this is what I want to show you. Yes, you are seeing that correctly. Yeah, I don't know when I purchased these, but it was a long time ago, and no, that is not for 50 rounds. 100 rounds. I reinstalled the barrel, okay, temporarily, and I dropped one of the CCI cartridges in there. All right, so now I'm just going to move that forward, okay, so you can actually see the way that functions. All right, so as the bolt is coming rearward, it's extracting the spent cartridge. It's going back, and then it's picking up the new cartridge and it's pulling it forward. Okay, so this is what's happening. You can see that I'm going very slow. This is real time, but I'm doing it very slow, as you can see. You could see the cartridge coming up, the port ramp, and it's just smoothly going right into the barrel. You could see that. Okay, I'm just stopping for a second to readjust, and then it slides right in. Boom. Okay, so now we're over at our buffing wheel. We're gonna polish out vector. Okay, on the edge. Okay, it makes contact with the cartridge. All right. Do same thing with the plunger. Okay, so at this point we're really just going to visually inspect the components of the bolt. Okay, I mean, it looks like it's in great condition, frankly. This was definitely well taken care of. We've got some residue, so it probably wasn't clean the last time it was used, but not a big deal, not too uncommon. So yeah, so let's just take a look. So our cartridge feed guide looks good. That looks like there's no issues. We've got normal wear on that, and we'll put a little oil in that when we reassemble. Okay, our extractor, the spring is solid in there. That looks good. It's not worn at all. Okay, firing pin we had previously checked. Firing pin looks good. Okay, firing pin spring feels like it's got good weight to it. Okay. Yeah, obviously the pins look good. Yeah, I mean, all right, so lubricating, okay. I'm going to use, I've got what I consider one of two, maybe three, but one of two, in my opinion, when it comes to lubrication, preeminent brands in the industry, Hoppe's, okay, and we've also got Clean Bore, okay. So those two are two brands that are in my shop in use. when it comes to firearms and other things, frankly, other projects outside of firearms that are in use. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to take a paintbrush and I like to just put a little bit of gun grease on the back of tip. I use very, very little. Okay, and then I like to just apply some on the edge here. Okay, and then I'll just use the paintbrush end just to brush that out. These are only on the only place you want to use gun grease, and typically speaking, gun oil is on the surfaces that make metal to metal contact. Anywhere else, I mean, it's, you know, a waste. Not helping you out in any way. It could be hurting you actually. Okay, too much lubrication, too much oil when it comes to firearms is a bad thing, because you're gonna get situations where you're gonna see fouling, undue fouling, and stuff like that. Okay, so from there we are going to just insert our barrel, slide that down. Here it comes, and we will from there get a hold of our barrel retainer. Okay, so make sure you have where it says front, you have that in the front, okay, or facing forward, I should say. This just slides into a slot. Just pull back so you can see what I'm referring to. Okay, that just slides into a slot here. You can see that right there. Okay, right in. Simple enough, right? I'm just going to let the bolt just move forward on its own for now, so I can grab a hold of the barrel, move the barrel back. Just need to push up a little bit on that bracket. I'll take the bracket bolt. This is really the easiest way of doing it. Put the bracket bolt back in, a couple turns, and then you just push up on it. You can see that bracket move up. So move up, slide the barrel back. Okay, you can see that moving rearward. You can pull. The only reason I'm really pulling the bolt back is because I want you to see what's going on here. Okay, so we're going to slide that back. That's in place. And then you can just take the pressure off the screw on the bottom. Just push that down into place. Now you're in. Now you can just release everything. You're good to go. Okay. The ejector, which is what this is, actually, as that spent cartridge is running, the back end of it is running, or the rim portion is running against here, it makes it flip out and it ejects. Okay, so it ejects the spent cartridge. We're just going to hold this back, which you don't need to reinstall, but I just want to show you as I slide this into the side. I just call it a male slot, not like a female slot, male slot. I mean male slot like you go into the post office. It's like one of those slots you put a letter in. All right, and so now you can see it in there. All right, so we're just going to let the bolt go forward on its own. Okay, and that's it. I mean, that's, So again, this is the cartridge feed guide. Don't leave it like that. Okay, some might be tempted to. That's not how it goes. It goes like that. Okay, so we've got our charger in our wooden bowl. Okay, I've got our a can, a fresh, brand new can, super clean, tough task cleaner degreaser, dissolves grease, super easy, super fast. Nice thing about this, because I do work in a subterranean environment and there isn't a lot of ventilation. This is biodegradable as far as the detergents. It has very low odor, and it's an incredible product. Just going to lay that on there. We're just going to use some downward force. You don't have to hit it like I am, but I like to hit things. So, yeah, that's definitely seated. Okay, so we can now at this point put our charger back in, right in there. I don't know. This is just a question. I know it's not complete yet, but does this look beautiful to you or what? Look at that bluing. If you didn't see it take place, make sure to check out episode 1 of this 2-part series. Yeah, we show the bluing process. You know, we show the cleanup and the bluing process, the tear down, so on and so forth. All right, so don't miss out. Don't shortchange yourself. All right, make sure you watch it. What we're doing at this point is we are turning or inverting our nylon 66. I'm doing this because this did not show up in our episode 1 because, like a dummy, I did not adjust the exposure on the camera. You know, I'm like in a dungeon down here, you know, so the lighting isn't so great. I guess the lighting's sort of like me, a little dim. Anyway, there it is, Remington Nylon 66. And yeah, so we inverted that because what we're showing you now is we are going to tighten up on the barrel screw. Okay, this is the screw that went into that barrel retaining clip. Okay, not really a clip, frankly. I'm just going to call it a barrel retainer. And so we're just going to tighten down on that. I'm not using a torque wrench. I'm using an old school torque wrench called my wrist. And I probably got that tightened down to about 10 foot-pounds, frankly. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. I know, there's a little anal on that, right? I wanted to line that up with the groove on the bottom. Yeah, I don't know. That's just me. You don't have to do that. So don't over tighten it just so it lines up. That happened to be right at a nice sweet spot I was happy with. So we tighten that up, and now we are going to right this rifle and continue. Alright, so everything is all nice and tightened up. I'm just going to grab a cup of Joe. No, not that Joe. If you don't know the story of the cup of Joe, look it up. It's a great story. Alright, so great story. I know the sailors didn't care for it too much at the time. But yeah, if you look it up, it's an incredible story. Cup of Joe. Look it up. Look it up. Alright, we're back. As promised, I got a nice, fresh cup of Joe. No, I did not go to Starbucks for $5. I went to the kitchen, and my wonderful lady, alright, my wife of 26 years, made me a beautiful cup of Joe. I know it's a little fancy with the whipped cream and whatnot, but you know, it's the way I like it. All right, so we don't put any sugar in our coffee, so it's that gives me a little sweet. She says it's to keep me sweet, just sweet enough. All right, so at the point where the receiver's installed, barrel's locked down, charger's in, we've got our 2 receiver bolts, screws, I don't know, whatever you want to call them. Let me see what they're made out of. They are made out of steel. All right, so they are magnetic. Typically, when I re-blue a receiver, I also re-blue all of the screws. I also deburr them. But frankly, these are in such fine condition, and the bluing is right on the money. We're just going to reinstall. All right, so we've got 2 here. So we're just going to utilize. Anytime you want to, if you're doing a lot of work or you're not doing a lot of work on firearms or whatever, anytime you want to put pins in, receiver pins, whatever, firing pin, bolt, whatever, whatever, you really should have a tapered, some sort of tapered tool like this. This is part of my leather kit, all right, and it lets you align the holes very nicely. Okay, so you just insert. Okay, and it'll line it up for you, so you don't have to sit there and playing with it, stripping threads and so on and so forth. Okay, just slide that in. Okay, got that front one in. Get the proper screwdriver. Okay, you want to get a screwdriver that fits well in the slot, tight, and is the full width or as close to the full width as possible, so you don't strip out or bugger up or really screw up, if you will. Okay, so I want to make a note before I turn these receiver screws all the way back in. I want to make a note and just touch base. Now it's totally up to you. I'm kind of particular with the directions of the screws. I like to be symmetrical, meaning I like for both sides or both ends or 2 objects or 2 parts of a single object to be the same. Okay, so if this slot doesn't necessarily have to be parallel, which I would prefer, but it doesn't have to be. But if it's here, okay, at 12 o'clock, I really want the other screw, and now I really want the other screw to also be at 12 o'clock. Right now you could see it's not turned all the way in. I'm going to turn it to 12. I don't want you to, I'm not saying over tighten or under tighten, but if you can get them to match, which I can in this case, without over tightening, especially since you're dealing with some nylon here, although where the receiver is, the receiver components are pretty much all metal. See, I've got them both at 12 o'clock, which makes me very, very happy. See that? And that's just me. Like I said, don't follow that rule if you don't want to, you don't care about it, or whatever. Or if you're going to have to over tighten or under tighten. In this particular case, it worked out just right. Now we want to make sure after tightening up the receiver screws, bolts, whatever they are, pins, when you put them back in, that the action still works the way it should. So let's just test that. It does. Works perfectly. It's not binding in any way. Sometimes you could have situations where you tighten it up too much or too little, depending on the firearm, how old it is, how worn, so on and so forth. Where you over torqued or under torqued, and this could now be bound. This needs to function perfectly like that, all right, which it does. All right, so we're good. We're good. We can move forward. All right, so at this point, the firearm is completely reassembled. All right, the only thing we have left to do is just to reinsert the feed rod or the feed tube. All right, then we're going to test fire it. Okay. I think what we'll end up doing, because it's kind of unrelated, it's like a whole nother video. I think we're going to end this after the test firing and then put the, you know, the custom stock cover on, create a third video for the making of the custom stock cover, because that's, like I said, it's part of this firearm, but frankly it's really it's not something that needs to be done for, you know, the mechanical aspect of this and the the rebluing and so on and so forth, functionality. It's really for it's really for aesthetics. So we're going to create, that's more of like a leather project as opposed to a firearms project. So we're going to close this up. As far as the repairs, refurb, corrections, rebluing, and so on and so on. We're going to close this up. We're going to close this two-part series up, and yeah, and we're just gonna function test it on the firing range. All right, so we are going to set up the range. Okay, here we go. We've got 5 rounds. Okay, standard LRs. Ready to go. We've got a 50-yard target here set up. So we're going to go out 50 yards, okay, and see what type of results we have, okay? So give me a minute to get out there. Oh, nice. Not bad. Not too shabby at 50 yards. Good stuff. All right, so we're back in. We just finished up the ballistics accuracy test on the NYLON 66, built in 1987. Okay, we've got a 50-yard, not bad, 150 feet out. All right, so open sights. Okay, no scope, and very, very, very good accuracy. Okay, obviously this is just a piece of paper, but you can see the blowout in the back. All right, yeah, so very, very good accuracy with the CCI. Okay, so it's the only manufacturer we tested, so it probably functions fine with many others. Sometimes some 22s, well, like other firearms, are a little finicky, but this was a hollow point, so I was happy that it worked well with a hollow point. Probably due to the fact that we polished that feed ramp, so it functioned flawlessly. That's all I could say. Well, all 5 rounds, it functioned flawlessly. It ejected flawlessly. The rounds, I don't know, they flew. I would say the spent shells flew about 5-6 feet away easily. So yeah. So we're just going to do a quick plastic polish. Plastic and nylon's a little tough sometimes, only because it's very easy to burn. You got to keep your, if you're using a wheel, any type of powered device, electric, pneumatic, so on and so forth, air, you have to be very careful. Keep your device, your medium, moving, okay, because it could burn, melt, ruined, whatever. So we're not going to use anything like that. We're just going to use some basic polishing cream with a nice piece of American cowhide. Okay, it's the probably the ass end of it, but we're just going to use the soft side here. All right, and we'll just polish it out a little bit. You're not going to remove anything you can feel with your fingernail. You're not going to touch the checkering. You're not going to do anything with that, frankly. So we're just going to try to polish it out a little bit and do the best we can with that. All right, so Paulie D here with a Nylon 66. That's a wrap. Want to say thanks to my buddy, my good buddy E-Share. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate you entrusting your prized possession to me. I really had a great time doing the refurbish, I'll call it. Taking it back to where it was in its heyday. I think the rifle looks fantastic. Yeah, it really looks great. It's super accurate. Okay, at 50 yards, got a very tight pattern, and that's again I was in standing position. Okay, with open sights. With a scope, you're probably going to ding it right on a dime. Okay, every single time. So again, thanks to all these manufacturers that have these fantastic products like Super Clean, Hoppies, all of these guys, all of these corps, that are still into firearms and guns, especially in this day and age. It's really appreciated. Hope they keep doing what they're doing. Yeah, so that's it. I want to say thanks to all of our, thanks to all of our subscribers. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch our videos. We will have a separate episode for the build of the custom butts. We wanted to break that out because it's kind of like ups. And again, thank you to everybody. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Stay strong.